Welcome to Resilience Talk, hosted by Paul Spencer of Second Nature Solutions. Let's dive in. Hello, and welcome back to the Resilience Talk podcast. I have with me, as always, Paul Spencer, and we are introducing a new format for the show, which is much shorter, simpler episodes more frequently. So stay tuned for more newsletters, more episode listens that you'll find on YouTube and other podcast platforms coming out on a more regular basis, more quickly. So please, as always, go to secondnature.solutions and you will find the newsletter sign up there and get the latest notifications when we release a new episode. And today's episode, we are starting a new series on ownership. So as a business owner, the things that you need to be thinking through to get the most value out of your business and the ways that you can think through how to structure your business, think about the financial metrics, think about your leadership components or the way that you structure the organization, all of which drive value to the business. So first up, Paul, tell us about the importance of the financial aspects of the business as it relates to value.
Because as an owner, well, I think it's important to start why we start a business. And normally it's because we have maybe a passion, a deep passion, and we just, because we don't know any better, right? We start a business. Maybe we have a deep expertise and we're really, really, really good at something. And so it just becomes natural because you get frustrated because nobody else can do it the way I do. And so you jump into it and now you have a business. And then sometimes it's just natural for you to just do something on your own because you don't like having a boss, or you just want to do it yourself and you feel like you're not really the expert in it, but you feel like, I do feel like I could do it better. And so that's typically why and how we start businesses. The last one would be, I want to make money, right? Kind of the Silicon Valley startup mode. And so we go through that, whatever avenue you take, they all end at, I need a customer, I need revenue, and then I need to be able to deliver something. And that's where we end up being pretty good at, right? If we have a successful business, if you can make it through there, then you have revenue, you have customers, and you know how to do it. The part that over time that we lack is really the understanding that our business is an asset. It's not any different than if I have a financial planner or if I'm my own investor and I buy stocks or mutual funds in my 401k or my retirement accounts or just for fun. You analyze all of that by buying an asset. You're buying low, selling high, right? That's your aim. And you have a nice filter. We all have good filters on what are assets and what decisions are we intentionally making in order to make good decisions. But we lack that a lot of times in our business because we just started it, we got going, and now our focus is delivery and customers, right? And so the importance of this topic when you're an owner is to understand the financial performance of your business. And there are some indicators that when you say you're going to sell your business, let's say we're going to buy low, I start the business, I grow it, I have employees, I'm good, and now I want to sell high. Well, we're going to have different valuations, just like an appraiser would come into your own home. If you're going to sell, and that's a third party, they're going to look and see, did you remodel, right? What are how's the upkeep of it? What are some things you've done recently to it? Does it have a new roof? Those kinds of things. And that'll tell you the value of your home. Same thing happens on a business. If you're going to sell your business, a third party will come in and they will evaluate the business, right? And typically you have a multiplier. So more growth businesses have a 10 times multiple. Some of the smaller, like maybe a plumbing business, right, is more like 1.2, 1.5. Maybe if you get a 2 times, that would be awesome. But anyway, the buyer and the appraiser in that situation understands how to evaluate your business because it's an asset. And so the important thing for us here today is that as an owner, from the very beginning, think of your business as an asset. And so the first one is financial performance. There's also growth potential, key dependencies, recurring revenue, right to win, which means how competitive are you and how differentiated are you in your business, in your market, corporate structure, key management, leadership, and then ownership involvement. Those are 8 kind of general things that they typically look at. The first one is financial performance. And a lot of times we don't even look at our financials. And I know this, not because me, I mean, Brandon, I am good with my financial performance.
Of course you are, Paul. I have no
my
doubt.
P&L and all these things, right? So I'm talking about other people, not me.
Of course,
So,
of course.
But I know, working with all the family businesses, that the accounting side of things they're way over here, and you really don't care about them, honestly. You much rather focus on the sales side, the delivery of things, making happy customers, right? But it's really important that you, and this is the key phrase. I'm going to read this. What is the history of producing revenue and profit with timely and accurate financial record keeping? That's one of the primary questions an evaluator is going to ask and evaluate for the value of your business. Because if I'm a buyer of your business, even let's say it a different way, even if you are not planning on selling your business and you're going to keep it forever, you still want to build an asset. You still have to have something valuable. You don't want to be running it for 20, 30 years and then come at the end and just say, all right, it just floats away, it goes away. I don't think so. You wouldn't do that to your home. You wouldn't do that to the other assets in your life, right? So you spend a lot of time investing into this. You want to have it be valuable, right? For your kids, for friends, you could pass it on, right? Nonprofit, anything like that can happen. So anyway, that's why it's important to be thinking about this. And when we think about timely and accurate financial record keeping, one of the best practices with this is to have a financial review every month with your P&L. And it could be with your account person or your bookkeeper, or maybe just your partners. And if you solo own your business, maybe an executive team. But there are lots of businesses that I work with, and you know who you are, right? Where it's October and you don't even have your financials for August. Some of you may not even have your financials for July yet. And so that's not timely. They may be accurate, but they're not timely. And so the buyer, again, is going to be asking you a question of what is your revenue? What's your profit history look like? You may be able to say, oh, it's good, it's great, but prove it to me. Like, give me your last 2 years of financials, and how accurate are they and how timely are they? And if you can't give me this month's financials, it's already, I'm already going to reduce the value of your business, right? Because why would I incur the risk and when on face value on a word that you give me when I don't even know what the true financial performance of your business might be?
So it sounds like there's a couple of things going on here. One is you have the accounting side of the house where you have accurate bookkeeping, and then you've got the tax accounting that goes along with that. Make sure you're tax efficient and all of that.
Yeah.
But then if I'm understanding, there's also like financial review, which is like unit economics, forecasting, things like that. Like, do you give any other kind of caveats to how you would approach thinking about your finances?
Well, yeah, there's one other thing, which is like a pro forma type growth strategy. So you may forecast into the next 2 years based on something, right? You may say our industry is shifting for the worse, we think, for us. And so we want to build a pro forma of the next 24 months to see what effect that's going to have based on our theory that we're going to lose this type of customer, this type of business, or this type of industry is going to reduce its profitability by X amount. And what does that mean to our financials? And then that gives you an understanding of what to do and how to pivot. And it could also be a growth strategy, right? Instead of minus, it's a plus. And saying, hey, we have lots of opportunity here and here and here. And if we could actually gain this type of revenue and this profit margin, what would that look to our financials? And how do we grow with our structure and overhead in order to maintain that? And what would that be a pro forma look like?
Would you agree that, of course, that's helpful on the operational side while you're running the business, but in the event of a sale, a buyer would like to know that information. They're going to be doing their own pro formas, and you can actually have negotiating leverage if you can understand growth mechanics better than they can and make your argument.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, and it's not always trying to prove it to them. That's one aspect of it. But when you are organized and this process is mature, meaning going back to that phrase, you have timely and accurate financial record keeping. So that means you have a process around this, right? And it's disciplined and it's mature, meaning that it's well formed. And so I don't have to prove it to you necessarily because I have all the evidence behind me. And I've been able to show that I've been able to do accurate forecasting for myself and my own business by these three things that we did. And I've got the financials to show that. And that's a multiplier plus if anybody wants to buy my business. And again, when I'm building an asset, that's what I'm looking for. I'm wanting to create value. Value for myself, obviously, as an owner, for my employees, of course, but also for just again, if I'm not going to sell the company, it's still important to maintain my home, to put on the new roof, to redo the bathrooms, right? To put on a deck out the backyard. And those are all the things that we do anyway. And this is the same thing, right? And we're just looking at it one lens. Financial performance is the same thing. And if you're good at this and maybe not so hot at the other 7 or 8 valuations, this comes a long way to prove your financial prowess. And because essentially this is the value of your business.
Yep. It is the most important one, if you could say. There's a lot of things that go into evaluating a business, but this is one you got to get right.
Yeah.
So, okay, this is great. We have many more valuators to explore in the upcoming episodes. So stay tuned for the next few weeks, and we will see you next time. Thanks, Paul.
Yeah, thank you.